Hello, my name's Tony and welcome back to Fragdicted. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about a fairly new fragrance house called St Giles. The fragrance I'm going to be talking about is The Stylist. So stay right where you are. So thanks so much for joining me. Thank you for St Giles for reaching out and asking me if I'd like to try one of their fragrances. I also have samples from the rest of the range. So I have done a quick first impressions on a live video and I will reveal my favourite at the end of this review. Right, so let's show you the presentation. So as you can see, I love the minimalistic style, say that 10 times fast, of the bottle. The bottle's fantastic. I love the branding. I love the endless possibilities that this fragrance brand could come up with. So very clever marketing and I really like it. What's this one like? So let's run through the notes. In the top we have bitter orange, we have aldehydes and rum and mango absolute. In the mid we have Palo Santo, frankincense and tamarind. And in the base we have Moroccan and Virginian cedar, tobacco absolute, oak moss, musk and vanilla cream. So let's get into what the fragrance is actually like. So it opens with a fruity, punchy smell to it, but add in some frankincense, so a real smokiness too. So the best way I could explain this is like sitting on a beach at night in the Caribbean where it's been really, really hot all day and you're sitting there on the beach with a fire going and you've got a mango cocktail in your hand. That to me is what I imagine when I smell the opening in this. Or maybe I just want to go on holiday. The tobacco might be playing a factor in the smokiness, but I don't personally get a lot of tobacco in this fragrance. The fragrance would definitely be described as a woody fragrance. There are lots of woods in this. Palo Santo and both the cedar woods that are in here give it a real depth and give it a signature and a base that it needs. Going back to the opening with the rum and the mango absolute, it gives the whole composition a slightly overripe smell to it. So imagine Byredo's pulp, that overripe fruit smell. So if you love that, I'm sure you'll like the opening in this. It's not the same, but it reminds me a little bit of that kind of overripe fruit. It's a very strong fruity smell. It also has a slightly animalic note to it, but not animalic as in like a challenging note. It's not a challenging fragrance at all, but that note does disappear quite quickly. Now, along with those fruits, you pick up a hint of spice, and I'm assuming that's coming from the tamarind. So as the opening starts to give way, so the fruits start to settle back into the background, the frankincense does too, so the smokiness does fade. It then starts to transition into a woody, sweet, musky, vanilla base, and that stays like that for the rest of the wearing. It's definitely a fragrance of two stories. The Stylist really does suit the name of the fragrance. It's a trendsetter. It's definitely different and doesn't follow the rest of the crowd. but it has this cleanness from it, and it has this lovely, not overdone sweetness to it too. I'm not surprised at how good this is, considering the perfumer. So Bertrand Duchamp was the composer of this fragrance, as he is for the rest of the line, and he has an incredible CV. So I'm not surprised this is as good as it is. It's something I've had to appreciate as I've moved along. When I very first sprayed this, when I received it, I really did struggle as to how I was going to describe the fragrance. There's so much going on. I'll be honest, I didn't think it was going to be my type of fragrance. So on the very, very first sniff, I really wasn't sure. But I've worn this a few times more for review, and I've grown to really like it. And I think that's because of how different it is, but without being over challenging. It's got some sweeter notes that I really like in there, and I love that musky, woody vanilla dry down. I really do. That's my favourite part. Overall, a very unique fragrance, very pleasant. It's fruity, it's woody, it's sweet but not cloying, smoky, but it's also clean and musky. So a win for me. The performance on this is excellent. It starts off quite loud. It fills a small space. You get a full day's wearing from it too. It does really perform well. Once the initial opening fades away a bit, it does start to come and sit a little bit closer to the skin, but I actually really like that. I would say it's quite a complex fragrance. And the reason I say that is because some of the notes I'm not overly familiar with. I think it's been so well blended, it's very, very difficult to pick anything out that really jumps out and says, I'm oak moss or I'm tobacco. The tobacco's been so well blended in this, it's hardly really detectable to me. But the detectable notes are definitely that mango, the musk, the woods, and the vanilla. So a good fragrance overall. I thought this would be my favourite from the line. It unfortunately isn't. Should I reveal my favourite? Let's do that. My favourite is the Tycoon. Now, I'm going to feel like a copycat because Claire from the Smurfy Girly channel, she picked this as her favourite too. It's really, really interesting, and this is my favourite one, so the Tycoon. But like I said at the beginning, fantastic brand, fantastic idea and marketing. I really like that. Thanks again so much for St Giles for reaching out to me. I really appreciate it. I'll be leaving the links below where you can find these fragrances. I'll leave a link to their Instagram page too. So I hope you enjoyed this little review from The Stylist from St Giles. Don't forget to like the video. Have you tried anything from this brand? What's your favourite? Leave a comment below. Lastly, are you following me on Instagram? Here is my handle, and I'll leave the link below. I know I ask it every video, and that is because so many people are watching this channel without subscribing, so please subscribe. I would really appreciate it if you could do that. Thank you very much. And one last thing, don't forget to keep smelling wonderful.